The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Hi, my name is Rose Lopes. I am chair of the board for One South Coast Chamber. I would like to welcome you to our annual One South Coast Women's Forum. In an effort to stay within our time frame, we're going to get started. Out of courtesy for the program agenda, if you could all just put your phones on silent, we'd appreciate that. The One South Coast Women's Forum plays an important role in the building awareness of valuable contributions made by women in our business and professional communities. The 2024 One South Coast Women's Forum today is featuring our keynote speaker, former Lieutenant Governor Karyn Polito. Before we continue, on behalf of the Chamber, we would like to extend our appreciation to our sponsors. Their support of this program reflects their dedication to our communities. Thank you to our premier sponsor, St. Anne's Credit Union. Our corporate sponsors, SouthCoast Health Systems and Bank 5. And our supporting sponsors, Bristol County Savings Bank and Webster Bank. Today, we're pleased to be joined by former Lieutenant Governor Karyn Polito. Ms. Polito served as the 72nd Lieutenant Governor of Massachusetts alongside Governor Charlie Baker and served as a member of the Massachusetts House of Representatives and in municipal government. As a lawyer, she has managed her family's real estate development and commercial leasing business, where she presides as owner and operator today. Currently, Ms. Polito is an independent director on public and private corporate boards. She enjoys mentoring students at HKS Rappaport Institute, working for Worcester student-led nonprofit, and supports the Worcester Regional Research Bureau on Public Policy. She is a mom to 2 college-age students and married for 28 years, soon to be 29 years in June, just learned that, to her husband, Steve Rodolakis. Did I get that? I got it right. Please join me in welcoming former Lieutenant Governor Karyn Polito.
Well, good afternoon. I am so happy to be with all of you today. Thank you, Rose, for that wonderful introduction and the proper pronunciation of my Greek husband. So I don't know if there's anyone who's Greek here in the room. Christos Anesti. That's Happy Easter in Greek. And we just celebrated on Sunday, so I had a wonderful lamb dinner that I prepared for him and our friends in Dartmouth this past weekend, and it was wonderful. So it's great to be here. I want to thank Mayor Coogan. This is all your fault why I'm here today. I was visiting with the mayor at Mike Roderick's reception. I think it was over the winter, and it came as an opportunity to come and to visit with all of you and to share a little bit of my experience. But the most important part of the day is your questions and comments and thoughts. It's what I would enjoy most. So giving you a little bit of a prompt to think about some things that we can discuss today that are on your minds. I do want to go back to Mayor Coogan and thank him for his outstanding service as the mayor of Fall River, now 5 years strong. And I am still waiting for the hot dog tour. That was a bet that the mayor made when we were both hand-to-hand combat battling COVID. It was such a delightful time for all of us as business owners. You will want to forget all of that experience. I want to thank President Douglas. It's great to see you again and all that you're doing at the community college to create the workforce that's rightly skilled for the opportunities here in the South Coast, the emerging industries. I will take you up on your invitation to come and see the clean National Offshore Wind Institute right at Bristol Community College. So that will be fantastic. And thank you all for what you do in this community. I had an incredible opportunity for 8 years serving with Charlie Baker, and one of the joys of the journey was to have visited every community of our Commonwealth. We have 351 cities and towns, and it was my goal to get to know the people of the communities, the people who show up every day at City Hall and Town Hall, making decisions to try to make their community, their municipality better in terms of driving service that directly impacts people's quality of life. And that was kind of the experience I had when I was a select woman in my hometown of Shrewsbury. I said, if I can have an impact in my hometown, certainly as Lieutenant Governor, I can have an impact on all of the cities and towns. And it was a wonderful experience to have had that opportunity. But I got to meet great people like Paul Coogan and other counterparts of his that are doing great work locally. And so during my journey, I did visit a few places more often than others. And this is one of them. I recall being literally at an event in South Dartmouth. It was on the Causeway in 2018, and apparently it was closed for a long time, and it caused a lot of pain and aggravation to the business community there and the residents. But I was standing there with Charlie on this very hot day, but beautiful day, and I looked around, I said, this place is beautiful. And it just reminds me of the beauty of this region is so unique in that you have rolling farms and rural communities and neighborhoods to raise families, right down to a coastline that's filled with beaches and beautiful places and working ports and commercial fishing and stretching from Mass Maritime all the way to Fall River. I mean, you have incredible capabilities in this part of our Commonwealth. And I say it to you because as someone observing a little bit from the outside, I see it all, and I still see it evolving and growing today. And sometimes the people of the community, you get up, you go to work, you're taking care of your family, you might just assume that this is the way it is everywhere, and it isn't. You have something really special here in the South Coast, and it's what brought me back to want to be here and own a home with my husband. And the only challenge I have is I want to spend more time here as we have more time to enjoy together. And that is one of my goals, to be here with all of you more. And let me explain why. Why did I fall in love with the South Coast? And yes, the beauty and the places, and I just kind of highlighted some of that, but it's really the people that make the South Coast and this region special to me. And it's special in the sense that I relate to the experience of a lot of the people who are from this community or next generation in this community, or who are coming to this area as newer comers. And it's partly because of the experience I had growing up in the Worcester area. Shrewsbury's my hometown, but long before my family was situated in Shrewsbury, my great-grandfather, Francesco Polito, immigrated from Sicily in 1909 with the idea that many other European immigrants at that time, that he would travel over the seas in search of a better life for his family. And he knew on the other end, if he could find work, he could work with his hand, and there was nothing that would break his back from finding and developing a better life for his family to come over to. And that man, 5'2", with $50 in his pocket, and the determination that he had was unstoppable. And eventually, he was able to save enough money, and he bought a piece of equipment, and that equipment turned into a business, and it's a construction business that's still in my family today, 3 generations later. And so I think of Francesco as the person who started the history for my family, but who established that solid foundation. You work hard, you can earn your way, and you can take advantage of the opportunities that exist in this great country. And so when I was tooling around the South Coast and getting to know people and visiting these beautiful places, but it's the people. I heard a lot of those stories about Portuguese and French and Irish who came to this area from Europe in search of those jobs and that work and to be able to make life better. And that's still a very big part of who this community is, and the entrepreneurial spirit that is very much a part of who I am, and the region that Francesco first called home is very much a part of this region. The entrepreneurship, the small businesses that start up or have grown into next generations, the long-standing early industries of commercial fishing, now evolving and coexisting, as hard as that is, with offshore wind and renewable energy. Yes, you have an ocean at your waterfront and working front that allows for offshore wind to be there, but why is it that they are situating their operations in New Bedford and Fall River and Seekonk and other places? Because the people here have the abilities to be trained and skilled to do this work. So it's just a great place. I fell in love with it. So does my husband, and it is a place we call home now. And I'm very proud and honored to be able to be here. I ran across this quote, and I kind of keep it with me, and I'll share it with you, because Jamie Dimon is a business leader, obviously one of the biggest banks, very different from our community banks who are doing good work every single day. But he said, we are a land of opportunity, and we can never have equal outcomes, but we can have equal opportunity. So when you think about Francesco and think about your ancestors and think about the people you meet in this community who are newer to this area, starting a business or doing something, you can have equal opportunity. And that is the word that kind of guides me, but really should be guiding a lot of our leaders who are making decisions around policies to help people have access to this opportunity. Because if you have the right, whether it's seasonal immigration or merit-based immigration or legal immigration that brought our ancestors here, you should be able to access the programs and the skills and the resources to be able to see your future as bright as it can be. So I think about that quote a lot, and I think about opportunity is certainly what brings you to this chamber, whether you are part of a larger organization or you're a woman that is starting up a business or in a nonprofit like Paula and Power the Purse. Power the Purse was a great event a couple of weeks ago. This is a great opportunity. And I'm thrilled to see so many women here, and those that aren't here, that are intentionally organized around supporting each other. And that's what an organization like this can do. And to know that you have chosen to be part of not only this event, but the Chamber's activities around supporting women. Women helping women is critically important to making sure that our voices are elevated, because your voice matters. Your voice as a mother, your voice trying to balance your family life and your work life, your voice as a municipal leader, whether you're elected or you're volunteering on a board, your voice as part of this chamber, your voice as a small business owner, your voices matter. And they are unique voices, and they shouldn't just blend in with everyone else's, because your experiences are unique. And unless you're able to express your voices and share with each other, you're not helping another person, another woman who might be struggling with the same thing, because chances are they are. It's hard. It's hard to balance. We can talk about that if you want after. It's hard to balance it all and have it all and do it all, but you do. So I'm going to just give you a couple of sort of words of wisdom from my journey, and see if it resonates. This is things that I learned through trial and error, trying things and failing or falling short and trying again. And I have to give my great husband, Steve Rodolakis, all the credit for allowing me the opportunities to be able to try things, even though he might not have thought it was a great idea. If I felt in my heart and in my gut I had to do something, he was right there to support me. So I've been able to live my journey, and my professional journey, my journey in public service without regret. Because I was always more afraid of regretting something in my life than trying something and falling short. Because what's the worst thing that could happen? You might be embarrassed, you might be pissed off at yourself, you might, just be disappointed. But if you take that experience and you learn from it and you pick yourself back up and try again, that's the beauty of it. So one of my messages is always, if you're feeling that burn up inside and you just can't let it go, then you got to run through the door. And you've got to have some people that are willing to, either nudge you or be there. Yes, you got to do it, and I'll be there to support you. And that's what this Women Helping Women, or your other friends or husbands or brothers or whoever it is, to help you get through that and not regret. So first thing, there's 3 things I'm going to share. One of them is to be informed. Now, I'm going to guess that you're pretty well informed women around what's happening in your community, what's happening in your schools for your kids, what's happening in this Commonwealth or this region around business regulation, taxes, things that are barriers or hard to deal with as business owners, or just aware of what's happening in the news in the Commonwealth, in the country, and around the world. I venture to guess you're well informed. What I mean informed, I mean this, and I'll give you an example. When I served in local government as a select woman. I served in the legislature for 10 years, and I reached that point where I wanted my voice to be doing more than just in my district of the House of Representatives. So without regret, I ran for a statewide seat as state treasurer in 2010. And it was a big undertaking, a woman from central Massachusetts running for state treasurer. But I felt strongly about doing it, and there were things that I wanted to speak to. At that year, there was another person running for statewide office. He's just slightly taller than me. He was running for governor, and that was Charlie Baker. And so the two of us would see each other on the campaign trail. He's running for governor, I'm running for state treasurer, and we'd be at a parade, and then we'd be at Dunkin' Donuts, like taking a bath and getting back out there, because the parades are always so hot and hard, as Mayor Kukin knows. So anyway, we go through, we work hard, just, do everything you're supposed to do as a candidate. So election night comes and goes, and we both lost. And it stinks, it's hard, but the most important thing was what we did after. And what we did after was to get together and do sort of the analytics on what did you learn, what did we do okay, what could we have done a whole lot better. And we both came to the conclusion that we spent too much time over and over again in the same circles of people that we knew. And it was comfortable. It was a lot of nods of the head, you're doing everything right. And that's the world that we lived in throughout our campaigns. And it was the wrong approach, because we didn't open up and be informed by the people in places, in their experiences, to really understand their concerns, their needs, their hopes, their dreams for themselves, their families, their business, for their community. And so we vowed that if we were to do this again, we were going to do this in a different manner. And so fast forward, we ran together as governor and lieutenant governor as a team in 2014. And it was the campaign of a lifetime for us, because we approached our campaign getting out to every place and in communities that were unfamiliar and uncomfortable for us, to really listen and learn and be informed. And we found ourselves collecting these stories and ideas and information that was amazing. and we'd share, and it was a very exciting process to us. Fast forward again, we barely got in. It was a very close election. It wasn't decided on the night of November 2014 until Worcester County came in, put us over the top, and the governor will be forever grateful for his lieutenant governor from that area of the state. He'll tell you that. He'll tell you that. And so going into office, we were better informed. We became voices that eventually people really got to trust, because we were saying relevant things, and we were saying relevant things because we were listening to a lot of different people. And the very first thing we did coming in, the most important thing, and Mayor Coogan and others would attest to this, is surrounding yourself with people not just nodding their heads and giving you all the same stuff every day, but to make sure we had a cabinet of secretaries that were expert in their field. We didn't care if they were Republican or Democrat. We just wanted people that knew their stuff and that had different points of views and experiences that could inform us about what our agenda would be and what we were planning to do, and then all the stuff that hits the fan every single day when you're in these positions that you just have to take. And you want the best people with the best ways of thinking and good judgment to bring their ideas to the table, because when you share and you exchange, you get to the best outcomes. So the first point is to be informed. This applies to your personal life, your family life, your business life, your community life, is to be informed and be that trusted voice that people will want to relate to or talk with because they know you know your stuff. The second is be collaborative. Now, in a day where you put the news on and you see things not happening, you're like, well, how come these people can't just get along? What are they doing? Why can't they just understand that compromise, common ground, and consensus are what most people do every single day in their workplaces, in their businesses, in their community to get stuff done? And Mayor Coogan and I have talked about this all the time. And so being collaborative is all those things. Now, being a Republican in this blue state, obviously, I didn't have success as an elected member of the House of Representatives as a minority member and just thinking all my ideas were the best ideas, or for the governor and I to be Republicans in the executive branch dealing with a legislature of the other party and all statewide congressional office holders of a Republican Party, because we didn't think collaboration mattered. Collaboration matters. You know, you file a bill, you file your budget, that's just the beginning. That's like the easy part, you know, putting your stuff together the way you think of it. The hard part is getting it done in a way that invites other points of view that you might not agree with, but you got to find a way to find the middle of the road. And yes, you're going to have to give up some stuff, and so will they, to get to a place where you get stuff done. It's hard stuff. It takes time. It takes a lot of relationship development, because you want to trust each other that what you're saying is true and it matters. But through our work, in the legislature, I worked with my colleagues, a lot of them in this delegation, on the passage of Jessica's Law, which was a law designed to make it safer for kids from dangerous sex offenders. We were one state that didn't have the strict penalties for repeat sex offenders, and we ultimately got it done. I filed the bill 3 times, but ultimately we got it done. And it wasn't the bill that I filed first, second, or third, but it ultimately became law in this Commonwealth with a lot of voices. I mean, for the governor and I, in our work, there was a lot of compromise throughout, and we're very proud of the work that we were able to accomplish with and for all of you. So being that constructive voice is critically important. And the final point I want to make, and I think this is the hardest one of all, it was for me anyway, and maybe for you, but maybe not, and that is just be yourself. Now, when I was first running for office, I ran for a seat on the local board of selectmen, as they call it, and I ran, I'll never forget it, it was May 1, 1995, it snowed in the morning, it was gorgeous at night, and it was a 3-way race, and I was the new person trying to knock off incumbent, and I was able to win. I knocked on every door. I shouldn't say me. I knocked on, with my husband, who did more than half the town, every door in the community, listening and learning. And it was about a month and a half, right, from my wedding day. Remember the anniversary is going to be 29, June 24th. And I was so consumed with signs and standouts and debates, and the wedding was important. But I had to get on this board of selectmen because I really wanted to help my town get better. And so I did that and was able to serve. But I was then invited by it was then Governor Cellucci to run for a seat in the legislature. Now, I didn't want to do anything more. I was happy. I'm serving my hometown. I'm married, starting my career as a lawyer. He's like, no, we need you. We need more women. We need women that have professional credentials. We need women who've served in local government. We need your voice in the legislature. I was like, oh, no, I'm quite good. I'm quite happy. But then I couldn't get rid of that, right? So I ran when Governor Cellucci was running for governor, and I ran for a seat. And he won, and I lost. Now, I gave up something that I really loved, being on that board in my hometown, to do this. So that was really, really hard for me. But I said, what went wrong? And what I realized about myself, I had accomplished a lot, just graduating college, going to law school, first in my family. Our family didn't have college-educated people, so that generation doing that was a big deal for our family. But I lost because I wasn't comfortable in my skin. I wasn't confident in what I was saying, and I was trying to be like that candidate over there. That's not how life works. And the hard part of just being yourself is the vulnerability that comes with that. And so it took me trying and falling short to realize this is just me. This is who I am, and this is what I'm going to put out there, and I'm going to try it again. And I did, and I was successful serving in the House of Representatives after that. So I just say that to you because there'll be moments, and it happens to me in my professional course, that you have to recheck. Who am I? How do I want people to see me? I don't want to be defined as something that I'm not, so you always kind of push back on that. But I call it my compass, and I put this out there as your visual, to think about the compass that is packed with the kinds of attributes that you believe about yourself, that you want others to know you as. And that compass will need to be recalibrated and repositioned so that you continue on your path and the journey that you've set your course on. Much like Francesco and our ancestors, they had their compass rightly set, determined behind all of that to get their job done. And that compass will guide you. I think about, I'm a problem solver, I'm a collaborator, I'm a strategic thinker. I think about that as my compass. And then there are ways to describe yourself that you might want to put into your compass. That's your center, that is your circle, that is what grounds you, that is your foundation, that you literally get up and stand on every single day. That solid footing that you have is your compass, it is your center, it is your circle, and that will guide you where you want to go and where you need to go, because we need you. All right, so I said that I was going to say those three things, being, that trusted voice, being constructive, being authentic to yourself and to others. And I'm going to close with these two thoughts, and you might have some thoughts about them too. What upsets me today is when I wake up and I just see chaos everywhere. And knowing these are like the things that I think about, being informed, collaborating, trying to get stuff done, being productive, and you see chaos. And I am so bothered by the lack of civility and respect that is supposed to be the norm that guides us in our day-to-day interactions in business and in your personal life. And when I think about civil discourse, I think about the way that we would debate issues and have different ideas and points of view. And what I see today is completely the opposite. In a country that is built and founded and fueled by opportunity, you have people that in the name of free speech, and it isn't, are shutting and silencing others' points of view. And that's very bothersome to me, and it should be to you. That this is chaotic. It's destructive. It's a negative influence, and it's not who we are as a community, as a country, and as America. Put that out there, and I hope that others can see that. I'm going to share an example, because this is something that Charlie Baker would always say to us. This is a fun one. You know, you see two people in a fight, you know one of them's a jerk. You just don't know which one, right? So it's like, don't be a jerk. The jerks are the ones silencing others from their points of view. They're bullying the others, commencement speeches, their classmates who just want to get their diploma with their family, who's worked so hard to help them have that opportunity. So one of my themes, don't be the jerk, and you aren't, but you're going to see people that are, and you're going to understand that piece of it. And the other is just find your joy, because in the chaos and the hard things that are happening around the world, find your joy, and that goes right into that compass. The things that you need to make you whole, to balance your family and your friends and your work and your profession and your community, and to make ends meet so that you stay on that course. Find your joy, whatever it is. You know, I like to walk every morning with our dog every day, relentless. I like to keep track of my steps because it makes me feel good at the end of the day if I got my steps in. I love watching the Bruins and the Celtics, and how joyful is this that we have two of our home teams in the playoffs. And we have Mother's Day on this weekend. And I would close by just saying to all of you who, you're moms, you may be a mom, you may have a sister who is a mom, just thank you for what you do every single day. You're not looking for credit. You know, you're not looking for that, you're just trying to do the right thing every single day. And I appreciate that, and I wish you wellness and happiness and a very joyful Mother's Day and a great summer ahead. Thank you. So, do we have time for questions, or you guys all want to dart out the door because it's just like glorious day? We haven't had to fight the weather for anything these days, and now here we are.
Yeah, we have about 20 minutes.
I'm happy to take a few questions if you have anything you want to share or thought. Okay, I did not ask him to ask a question, right? But he gets the prerogative as the CEO.
First, on behalf of One South Coast Chamber and our communities, thank you for being here. You know, as you were speaking, I'm thinking about you talking about your compass. I was thinking to myself, thank God your compass led you here today, because you're a terrific speaker. We always felt like you did a great job as Lieutenant Governor, and we really appreciate all of your time and your leadership. So I know it's not necessarily a question, but I felt like I wanted to say that. But my question would be, if you had to do it differently this time, what would you do differently?
You mean, I don't know. I mean, I really have not lived my life with regret. The regrets would come in ways like this, and these are probably things that you might experience. The biggest challenge for me in public life was to balance my family. And the hardest part is to not miss, right? I mean, how many of you, I mean, I lived by the schedule, and I was grateful to my staff because I had responsibilities, and the governor empowered me with a lot of chance to do a lot of really important and great things as lieutenant governor. And then there were things I just knew I could never get to. Like, I didn't travel out of state. I didn't go to lieutenant governors associations. I didn't do any of that. I want to be home in my home because that's where my kids are. And so I had to make choices, but I also had to put in my schedule. You know, there's a game for Judy. My daughter plays a lot of sports. She's a field hockey player, and I'm so proud that she's graduating high school in a few weeks and going to Holy Cross to play field hockey. But I didn't want to miss, and I did miss. And those were hard days, going back to, you know, trying to help yourself be well and happy. I was a little grumpy on those days when I couldn't get all that stuff in. And the same for my son. He's a second year at Bowdoin College in Maine. He plays football up there, happy. That balance and that tug in life it's hard. But I'm grateful that I had this amazing opportunity to serve and to be alongside of a giant, not in height only, but as a man. I mean, he really empowered women, especially as lieutenant governor, to go about and do and bring back the ideas and tell me more about what you want to do, and we'll keep doing more. So that's one thing. The other thing is, don't be afraid. Like, a lot of people say, so what are you doing now? And why didn't you run? And why didn't you, governor, run again? Like, we're not kings and queens. These are elected terms of office. And you're there to serve every single day in the fullness of everything you got, because the people are depending on you. There was no one else in COVID. I mean, you're like, who else is going to do? This is it. I mean, you're it. And so I have had just enormous opportunity to do those things. But you have to know when it's time to go do something else. And so I'm blessed to be able to take my experiences and my learnings and my public life and pour it into helping as an independent director on boards of companies that are struggling with issues, to think through and come out of it in a better and stronger way so they can continue to drive better service for their company that's important. The same kind of idea that I had around community development in municipalities. If I can help resource better and equip Mayor Cougans across the Commonwealth, then they can drive better service, which directly impacts your quality of life. So there's not that much I would do different. It's just, you know, someone gave me the advice when I wanted to do more. They said, well, honey, you can't, because you're going to have your family, and then maybe someday you'll be able to do more. I'm like, I'm 36 years old. I'm having my first baby. I can't wait, and I have to do it all. I can't wait and put this off. And that's just the way I did it. It doesn't work for everyone, but I want to see women, you know, have the support that they need in their workplace, with their employers, and at home, so that they can continue to stay involved in their professional capacities and also have the abilities to manage home front. It's not easy to do, but I like that opportunity and option for women. And I do think that COVID, there's really not much at all that survived it that's, you know, become permanent, although flexible work and trying to figure out how to make that work for you is a good option for a lot of people. Thoughts? Rose?
I have a question. You mentioned running for office a couple of times and not making it the first time. Tell us about the next day. Like, how do you get up the next day and say, I'm going to do this again?
Oh, no, you don't. No, you're never going to do it again that day. You know, you never, no, like, oh my God, that's so terrible. I remember who I was with. Okay, so your family is family, and on a day like that, they were all right there with me. I remember going to my family office and being with my dad and my brother and my mom, and we all just hung our heads. And I remember a call that came in, and it was an unlikely call. It came from Congressman Jim McGovern. Now, he's Democrat, probably supported my opponent. I didn't ask, but he called to say, you ran a great race. We need you to continue to be involved. We need you to think about what you'll learn from this, but know a lot of people love you and care about you, and I hope to see you back out there again. There you go, right? Isn't that the way it's supposed to be? And that's a good example, I would say. So the next day, things like that, you have to heal, but you really do have to do the diagnostic, which is hard, and ask people, what do you think I could have done differently? How did this go not the way I hoped? And what can I learn? And really do the painful, walk through how to do this better and learn from it. And that I had to do, and that allowed me then to take that step to want to go forward again. Yeah. Yes.
I have a girlfriend helping her. She's running for a school committee.
Yay.
And I feel bad because it's really nasty. It's awful how it gets so personal. So any advice to her, I can give her today when we have our meeting.
Yeah.
Also, I live in that heavily Democratic town, and they are pushing all of their party into the school systems, and we're always trying to contest it and run, and we're losing. So any advice there as well? We've knocked on doors, but it's been a Republican list, a low density voter list, and independents. Should we go to the Democrats' neighbor?
Okay, so we're going to be here for. Can I just say, first of all, thank her for running. Putting yourself out there and your name on a ballot is a daunting task. But these are really, really, really important positions that pay nothing and are critically important to the quality of education and opportunity for kids who are our future. And whether it's a school committee or it's a select board or a city council or a planning board or a conservation commission or a zoning board, which was my first appointment, we need people who care, that are thoughtful, that can work with others and not just bring their own single agenda forward without thinking that they're going to compromise and find common ground and get stuff done. So if I'm advising your friend, I am saying, where's her circle and what's in there? Because that is defining who she is. Is she a problem solver? Why is she running? But what is it about her that she needs to make sure are known? Otherwise, she could be labeled or grouped into something that is not her. And I hope, yeah, she's got to stiff arm that. You stiff arm the noise, you just stiff arm that, and you find a forum to be able to explain that. Now, there might be, cable's great, like so a one-on-one interview so that she can get that out. Her, social media is a blessing and a curse, as we all know, and to use the appropriate venues. I always found the in-person coffee meetings and meetups are really helpful, and people to really get to know you for who you are as opposed to what somebody else says about you, and really crystallize her communications. What she says, she can't be like 12 things. It has to be a few things that you're going to seek out and try to do better. And that knowing who she is and being yourself piece of it will allow her authentic voice and her true self to come through. And that might be a differentiator in a race where there's a lot of nastiness and single issues.
You want transparency, you're fighting for that, and like you said, diversity of thought, she's fighting for that, but they're fighting for diversity, equity, inclusion, and you're not with that, and you're a horrible person. But it's not. She's thinking I want to be like a board of directors that.
And your audience.
Yeah.
You know who you're speaking to, and there might be other candidates that are speaking to a very small but really loud group of voices, whereas there are a whole bunch of other parents and families and taxpayers that want to know what your candidate stands for. And then ultimately, whatever the outcome is, do it again. Because sometimes the first time is not a charm, as we all know. And if we didn't pick ourselves up again, we would not be have served as governor, lieutenant governor of this Commonwealth. So do it again. So, yeah. Yes. Hi. Nice to see you.
Good to see you. I so admired you as our lieutenant governor and so enjoyed your coming forward so often. I'm curious if you want to be in public office again, because it's certainly been part of your journey, and I'm just curious about that.
I know, a lot of people are curious about that. You never know, I guess, but I am really happy doing what I'm doing. I feel like for me, because, I was elected in office in 1995, and it was like I became so consumed with public service all through my marriage, and then pre-kids, and then had my family and balanced it all. I feel like this is the first time in my professional life I have the freedom and flexibility to really own my schedule and own my time and pick and choose the things that I want to do. And so that's one way of looking at it. So I'm so honored to be able to serve on the boards that I'm on the meeting the people and participating in decision-making that is really important, and picking and choosing the kinds of things. Now, fall is off limits for me. I mean, I'm going to be on the sidelines at field hockey and football for my kids a few more years, and I don't want to miss that. I would also say that this chaos and this discourse is really, really disappointing, and not more than disappointing, it's dangerous for our democracy and the ability for people to work together. And so I'll continue to monitor that, because we definitely need more people like your friend standing up and putting themselves out there to help. And I always am available to help thoughtful people that want to serve and make a difference have a successful path. So that's my answer. Oh, right here, yeah.
Hi. I'm a foster parent. I've been a foster parent for over 10 years. A little bit of advice as things change, and fostering has been
Hard.
difficult on both ends, on foster parents and workers. I have been trying to get to someone about change, because I'm concerned we're leaving some children behind. They're at the capacity that now they're sending children home maybe too early. This weekend I had a mix-up. They sent the wrong kid up. Wrong child had parents that he could put. So I mean, everyone's busy, but we're going to leave. Someone's going to get the brunt of the chaos, and it's the children.
It's the child.
So I'm just trying to, I mean, I talked to my local DCF officer, and of course, everyone agrees. Nobody wants to take that step. Okay, where are you going to go? Who are you going to talk to?
Okay, so we can talk after and see if I can help direct. Can you all, big thank you to Mayor Coogan for his service. Thank you, we'll see you soon. And I'm happy to speak with you and help you, because I know how important that is for children who are born into circumstances that they didn't ask for and are very challenging. And talk about opportunity. If you can help them access a little love and support to help them make good decisions, they will have an opportunity to do good things and be happy and healthy. I want to just share with you, and I'll be here, I'm not running out until we talk, that Lauren Baker discovered in her journey as the First Lady a nonprofit that was part of DCF. And it was just a small nonprofit that didn't really raise any money and just was quietly there to collect resources to provide foster kids and kids in the care of DCF with those extra things, the backpack going back to school, the dues for, whatever activity, or the sports fee, or the, whatever. She has now taken that on and made it a much bigger organization that she raises a lot of funds for and is the CEO. And it's called the Wonder Fund. So I just put it out there for you. If there are others that have people in the community that can be served from the Wonder Fund, it's a really great organization. So I'm going to close on that note, and I want to thank you all for just giving me a little bit of time today. And I wish you all a great Mother's Day. Take care.